Pranakasha livestream.
Hey folks, it's Matt of Pranakasha Productions, otherwise known as the Star Trek cello guy, and the lead singer of the Macadamians Party Band. And today we're talking with Valeria Sweet, who I met at a recent Space Command shoot. And you got to be a captain, right?
Sorry, say it again.
You got to be a captain, right? You got a captain suit on?
I got a lieutenant.
A lieutenant, okay.
Yeah,
I
I
was a
think
captain.
maybe you're there for a couple of days.
I was a captain.
Or maybe if you're an investor.
So I outranked you, but the thing is you got a way better part than me because like you were like right in the front of the camera, whereas I was
You
way in
think
the
so?
background.
I
You could
don't
barely
know.
even
I only
tell.
got one little line.
You got a line? I didn't even get a
No
line.
way. You're
Yeah,
gonna be back though.
yeah, that's true. Anyway, so Valeria is a filmmaker and an actor and a producer too, because you produced your own shows, right?
Yeah, I produced some
Yeah.
shorts and features. Yeah.
And you're working on a full-length feature right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's called Once in a Blue Moon,
Once in a blue
and we're
moon.
in post-production right now. It's like a romantic dramedy about two co-stars who fall in love during the pandemic
Oh, fun.
and all the fun things that ensue during the pandemic and post-pandemic. So it's really cute. We have a couple of actors that you guys might know, Serena Vincent, and we have Nicholas Brendan from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh.
So, yeah.
And are you in it as an actor as well?
Yes, I'm an actress in it. I wrote it, I directed it, I produced it, I made it
That's
happen.
cool. Are you the lead actor?
I'm one of the leads, yeah. Me and Philip Andre Botello.
Fun. Okay. That's going to be, and it's going to come out, I assume, like on Amazon and places like that.
We'll see where it goes. I mean, of course, everybody's dream is it goes to some bigger festivals where it gets like scooped in by Hulu or Apple Plus, Apple
Okay.
TV Plus or something. That would be the dream.
Uh-huh.
We'll see if it happens. If it doesn't happen, yeah, there's always Amazon. So
Right.
we have a couple of options. We have, some avenues to put it into, but I always want to, strive for the best. So
Right.
we'll see what happens.
That's fun. And so it's all, so you said it's in post-production. That means you've shot everything and now you're editing it and adding music and sound effects and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, and we actually have a great composer.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been so interesting. So my friends, Haley and Joe, they have a band called Jay the Second,
hmm.
and we were already going to use a few of their songs,
Okay.
which they have this kind of like eerie electronic, with like very like romantic sound.
Okay.
They probably don't like me saying that. They probably have a different way they describe themselves, but that's how I take it.
Okay.
And so we were going to use them for a couple of our, scenes already.
Okay.
And then they were like, well, Joe's getting into composing films, give us a shot. And I was like, sure, I don't have a composer yet. I wasn't even thinking about that. So as we were editing, I was sending him scenes and he was sending me back his, ideas, and they all are amazing.
Cool.
So it's shaping up really well. And we'll, finish locking in the edit, and then we'll color it, and we'll finish the sound and the audio. So yeah.
That's fun. I don't know if you're old enough to remember the first Dune movie that came out. Dune
Back in the day?
Yeah, the one that came
I
out.
just
I
recently watched it.
think it came out in the 80s, maybe.
Yeah, I just recently watched it.
Oh,
Well,
not
before
the new, but the
the
old
new.
one.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched it before the new Dune came out.
Because the music for that was by the band called Toto, which is basically a rock and pop band that everybody knew back then, and they did the music, so it can be done that way.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you just never know who's gonna compose.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's
Love it.
fun. That's really cool. And like, so when you shot it, did you shoot it on location in LA or where did you do it?
Oh yeah, all over LA. I feel like we had, I would say 50 locations. It probably was not 50, but maybe 25 or 30,
Oh,
like
wow.
easy. There were some days where we were going from like Laguna Beach to, I don't know, like somewhere more in like Santa Clarita. Like we were all over from
Oh, okay.
like from Orange County to yeah, like Santa Clarita County, all over.
Anything
Like
in
I feel like
Malibu?
yes, we shot. I think there's a beach called Leo Correo,
Okay.
and it has like really cool rocks, and I was recommending that beach. And we needed this technically sunset shot,
Okay.
but we shot it as a sunrise. So like we went there like 5 a.m. We shot the sunrise as if it was sunset. And, because you got to cheat some shots
And
because it's
this
more
run that,
comfortable to shoot when there are no people there.
right. Hmm.
Yeah. Because we were supposed to shoot, like, the shoot is basically a period piece because it's pandemic. So we have to shoot when there are no people around or
Right,
very
okay.
minimal
Hmm.
for some of the scenes to like sell. That's when it was.
Hmm.
So we literally had to like steal some shots at the times when people weren't there.
Yeah. Of course, a scene like that, you could go and, well, maybe you couldn't. I guess you couldn't. If you went at sunset and just shot it just to get the sunset and then did put the actors on a green screen. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you could do
interesting.
that, and
Yeah.
and we did shoot like some extra shots,
Uh-huh.
some sunset shots, just like you said, so that we can intercut.
Mm-hmm.
But but yeah, I think the green screen would have been a little bit harder to match. That's the
Yeah.
only thing. The post person.
Yeah, it depends how good they're at it. I mean, nowadays,
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, I don't know, if you ever did you ever see The Hunt for Red October? That Sean Connery movie,
A
submarine
long
movie.
time ago. I mean, yeah.
That movie was
Because
a great movie, but then right at the end, they had sort of a night scene where they did a bunch of
Mhm.
green screen shots that were totally terrible. I mean, I was like, wow, these are really bad.
Yeah,
So
80s.
nowadays, you can do green screens way better than they did.
I
Yeah.
know. I mean, they have whole studios, right, where they shoot like Star Wars and stuff,
Yeah.
where it's just like the screen behind them and it totally sells.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. That's really interesting. So you've been living in LA for, I remember okay, so me and Valeria know each other from Space Command, and then we actually went out to dinner after, I think it was the last night, right? Where a bunch of people from the set went out to dinner, right?
Yeah, all of us went to Applebee's.
Yeah, so we all, there was like, I don't know, 10 or 15 of us there.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, is this an investors dinner? Because am I the
Yeah.
only? So
Oh,
that was
actually,
very
you gave
nice
me
of
a
you
ride.
guys.
You gave me a ride there. I forgot. I rode in your car. So we kind of know
Yeah.
each other. So we're not total strangers. And yeah. So then and then you told me, but I forgot that because you're not originally from LA. Where were you really originally from?
So I was born in Russia and then I grew up in North Carolina, which is
Right.
where I moved from.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. When did you move to North Carolina?
in 2002. And then I moved to LA in 2012.
Okay.
So
So
I
and
just keep moving west.
so you still have a slight Russian accent still. I know you have
Yeah, a
kind
little
of an
bit.
accent. It actually sounds cool, I think.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
So I can play my roles.
Have you ever had a chance to go back to Russia or wanted to go back?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when we first moved, we went every couple of years.
Okay.
Then then we moved my grandma who lived there and we didn't go as often. And
Okay.
then before the pandemic, I actually went every year for 5 years in a row. I went every year, and
Oh,
I ended
okay.
up shooting like a little mini series, which was like this little love letter to my city. I
Oh,
wrote
cool.
this another romantic
Huh.
drama,
Which
and
city?
It's a city called Kazan, Kazan,
Okay.
and it's like east of Moscow, but still like west of the Ural Mountains, so it's still the European part.
Okay.
But the city is very like Eurasian because
Okay.
it's, Russia's so big, it has different regions, just like,
Right.
we have states here. And this region is called Tatarstan. And
What does that mean?
I mean, I don't know, just the name of the region where
Okay.
Tatars live.
Yep. Yeah, maybe that's all
Um,
it means. Yeah.
but yeah, there's Russians and there's Tatars, and Tatars are more like Muslim, more like Asian looking
Mm-hmm.
people,
Kind of like
and
maybe like
Russians
Mughals, sort of.
yeah, I think it like that's where it originates, but everyone's so mixed now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so I grew up with like this interesting upbringing of like there's different nationalities living together in peace, and
Interesting.
there are many mixed families. Like most of my friends were like Russian Tatars or Tatar
Okay.
Russians.
But you look like you could be kind of Scandinavian, don't you
With the
think?
blonde hair. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm a
but also
natural.
your skin complexion too.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes, I'm pretty light. Pretty fair.
Interesting. Do you have any of
Actually,
that, if you have that kind of heritage in you, like from Finland or
I,
something like that, or
it's interesting because I did like a DNA test,
uh-huh.
like the ancestry.com ones, and that was one of the first things that it told me that I had like 11% like Finnish,
Okay.
and of course I went to my mom and I was like, I knew we weren't related,
Oh,
because
or did you have a Finnish boyfriend at one point?
or a grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, but actually I am Eurasian as well. I'm not Tatar, but I have like
Hmm.
I'm also mixed. So
Okay.
when you have so many nationalities and ethnicities, it's
Yeah,
like
we all are.
it's
So,
interesting.
so you know Russian and you know English. Is there any other languages that you know?
Well, I've studied French and I've
Oh,
studied Spanish.
oh, vous parlez
I
français.
wouldn't say I'm like we I'm not like perfect at it
Un
yet,
peu, un
but
très peu.
you know, I'm
Que
trying.
vous êtes très gentille, mademoiselle. Très gentille, très belle.
Aw.
Très intelligente. Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, that's cool. Okay, okay, and then moved out to LA just a couple of years ago, right?
I in 2012, so
Oh, wow,
actually
you've been there for 12 years.
12
The
years.
same
Yeah.
place in LA the whole time, or?
Yeah, the same place pretty much. I mean, I lived on like in West LA for a little bit
Okay.
and then downtown. Yeah, it's been quite a ride seeing downtown LA like coming up, and then post-pandemic it like started to go downhill again
Okay.
with the homelessness and stuff. But
Right. Now I'm trying to think. I mean, LA is such a gigantic city. It's like each little area is so different.
Mhm.
I don't think I know downtown very well. Like, I kind of know Koreatown now. I've walked around there because a friend of mine lives there. And then I know like Redondo Beach. My aunt used to live there. And then I have another friend who lives in Venice Beach. So I know those places. And then I also know there's like a Latino area. What was it? It was near this thing called like Industry Park or something like that.
It's kind of like between Koreatown, I think, and downtown maybe.
Yeah, no, it's farther out because it was sort of was within driving a relatively short drive of the Space Command set out in
Oh.
Pico. Oh shoot, what was it? Pico do shoot. Where's the Space Command thing? Pico de Riviera or something like that. I forgot what it was called.
Something
Darn
like
it.
that. That was the
Anyways,
only time I've ever been there. So.
I found an Airbnb out there for $50 a night, so that's why I stayed
Oh
there.
my gosh.
And and it's really funny because I made friends with the landlord. Me and the landlord are total buddies.
Aw.
Donna. And
Wait, is that the ones that came to the dinner
yeah, you're right. I
with her
invited her to the
son?
dinner. Donna and her son. You're right. I invited her to
So
dinner.
funny.
And the funniest thing is I'd known her for like a day after that. When she came to the dinner, we barely knew each other at all.
Basically, you make friends right away.
Yeah, took
Very
my
friendly person.
talents. Yeah, and yeah, okay. So, and that was your first time on Space Command set too, right? So, how did you find out
Yeah.
about it?
Oh my gosh. I've been trying to be a part of it for a long time.
Okay,
I've been a part of the table, the writers group, since
okay,
2016
okay.
when I decided like I should be writing stuff, and
Oh,
I had
cool.
this series that I started writing, Contenders of the Last Will. I ended up later making it a book. But yeah, so I started writing, and somebody recommended the table. So I went to meetings, and that was the first time I heard about Space Command. They were saying, they've already been like either thinking about it or filming something. And I've always thought like, where do we go to do anything about it? Right. And I
Right,
received so many, things from the table, like emails and emails all the time, and they go to different folders.
right.
And then, just a couple of months ago or whatever it was, I finally see an email from Mark, and it's looking for people to be in Space
Extras. Yeah.
Command. And I'm like, wait a minute, I want to be on the set. Like, how is this the first time I've ever seen it? So, long story short, I got there and they ended up making me a day player because I think some of the people left. No, I think it's because some of the people left early. And I was like, I don't have anything to do today, so I can stay as long as I can. And so I think that's one of the things.
Cool. Okay, so we got to back up. So, folks, we're just assuming y'all know this. So, Space Command is this.
Woo!
Which is a show put on by Mark Zickery and his wife Elaine. This is Mark Zickery right here.
Oh my God, I love this. That's amazing. Where did you get
That's
this?
the right. I've 3D printed it, and
That's amazing.
and then I have this is the ship, one of the main ships in it, called the Paladin.
Oh my gosh. You're so talented. That's amazing. So you can just
So,
take a graphic and you can 3D print it
well,
or
Mark sent me
recreate a
all the
graphic.
3D files, so all I had to do was figure out a way to get
Wow.
my 3D printer to do it. But surprisingly, this is really hard to 3D print. It took a lot of
Wow.
tries before I got it right because it's got some wild
Yeah.
shapes in it, and
Wow.
but I finally got it to work. And
That's amazing.
so that's the Space Command. And then the table that we're talking about is that several years ago, Mark and his wife Elaine put together this group of writers and producers and actors in this thing called the table, where people would just meet at a restaurant and talk about stuff. And they still do it. They meet at this Denny's. Um,
Is it Denny's now? It used to be
yeah,
Marie Callender's. I don't know if it
and
like
it's
changed.
over in the valley, I believe. Yeah, it's in the valley, and because I went there
Mhm.
twice, and then they have other people will connect via Zoom and stuff, and then they have this big email list that people are on, and it's just a place for people to collaborate and pitch their shows to fellow actors and producers and writers and stuff, and just basically network. So
Yeah,
and
I like it. I've booked a couple of stuff from there.
yeah, and if you actually go to the actual table at that Denny's, then you get to hang out with Mark, and usually Elaine's there too, and then Dave, the editor, is typically there, and then
Mm-hmm.
Dave Bartlett is there too, who's been a producer on the show. And anyways, you get to hang out with the inner crowd, inner circle of the Space Command. My
True.
phone is twanging me. Just a sec. I gotta turn the volume down. Okay, sorry, folks. Okay, stop that. Okay. All right. Okay, what happened? Anyway, so that's what we're all about. That's what we're talking about. Space Command. So Space Command is kind of an indie type of sci-fi show, um, and you can check it out. I'll put a link in the description. There's ideally there's going to be 12 episodes, or 6 episodes that are 2 hours long. I think is how it goes. 12 hours worth of
Mhm.
stuff. in the full season. And we were shooting from, I believe, the 6th hour. Is that correct?
The Green Cellar War.
I should know this.
I don't know
Anyways,
this.
pretty far along.
You
There's
should
still
know this.
the previous episode is still in post production, so it'll be a while before our stuff gets published out there. And so, and like I said, so Valeria got to be on a ship, and she was like, you were like a weapons officer or something like that, or navigator or something.
I just know that we were in a ship, and then we see that there is a bunch of enemy ships
Right.
and
And you're in the
blowing up
front.
ship.
You're up in the front, so we can see you very well.
And I'm like, who are these people?
And I believe my friend Mickey was next to you, right? The really tall guy, tall Ethiopian guy. Wasn't he in the same scene as
Yeah,
you?
probably. I don't remember his name. I think it was Mickey.
Yeah, and he had his hair. He had long hair, but it was pulled back.
Oh, in a bun?
Yeah.
Was it kind of a bun? Oh, yeah.
That was Mickey.
Yeah. Oh, it is Mickey. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Mickey. Me and him are buddies. I know him quite well.
Cool. Aw.
Yeah.
Did you get him into acting?
Yeah, and in fact, I guess me and you sort of hung out quite a bit just near the craft table during the day too. Remember, we were just sort of shooting the breeze.
Yeah, and you're showing me a
But I don't remember your hair being that long. How did your hair grow that fast?
Oh, no, I think it was long.
Really?
I mean, it's been, what, a month? It's grown, I mean, hair grows, right? So it might have grown a little bit, but it was similar. But actually, this part is what would have been in the back. So this part that I have up would have been in the front. So that is a little shorter in front.
Oh, okay.
They have layers. And then we talked about the blonde.
Right. I was asking you about how, because I have a friend
You're
who
asking me about
also
the product?
bleaches her hair. And I was telling you about how she's like, she bleaches her hair just totally platinum blonde. So a little lighter than yours. And then she always, she doesn't let it grow. She like you kind of let your roots grow out a little bit, but she doesn't usually do that. She just constantly bleaches it. And now half her hair is falling out. So you were giving me some advice about how to have it, have the hair be healthier. Because the funny part with hers is she's got these little spikes at the top here, but she's got some hair that's only like 2 or 3 inches long.
Because if you overlap the bleach, because the bleach expands, so say like you put it right at the edge, it's still gonna expand. So you have to like really give it like some room to expand and not put it on the whole root. And if it overlaps with the already bleached hair, it becomes really frail and it's more likely to
When you were in Russia, did you also bleach your hair blonde, or were you more like a darker hair in Russia?
Oh no, I was a little kid. I only bleached my hair a couple of years ago. I mean, when I was in college, I tried bleaching it a couple of times. But at that point, bleaching my hair felt too normal. Like I would dye my hair like red and shed and forest green, like really bright colors. So when I went blonde, I was like, this is too normal. I don't like it. So I just went back. I was like, let's do it gray. Let's do it blue. Let's do it purple. Now that it was blonde.
You know what I wish they would invent? And it seems like they could do it. Like, do you know what a mood ring is? Have you ever heard of those things?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it'd be cool if they could give you a hair color that was mood hair, where it changes colors based on your mood.
Wow, she's really sad. She's really angry.
Yeah, that'd be great if we could do that.
That'd be fun. Just like your thing is changing right now.
Yeah, this thing is constantly changing colors. So.
But I just noticed because we're talking about the mood.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Wow. Okay, so here's a question for you too. Do you have is any of your rom-com done yet? Like, is there any clips that you want to show?
Luke, 0 to 60. What is this, like a bit? This is how you get a woman to sleep with you?
No, definitely not. I don't think I've ever said that to anybody or meant
Why?
Well, what we can do, you can send me some screenshots, and I can
Uh-huh.
display them above us, because
Yeah.
and that can be sort of part of the usual display that
Yeah.
we use.
Yeah, and that way you can have like a screenshot of Serena and
Yeah,
Nicholas. Yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah, we'll do that. We can do that.
That'd be fun. And you said you knew of Serena Vincent, right? From Cabin Fever and stuff. She was in some horror stuff. She was in, I think, Not Another Teen Movie. And um I can't remember right now. The one where it was a TV show where like they had different colored outfits, like oh, Power Rangers.
Oh,
She was in Power Rangers
oh, that's
from
cool.
90s, I think.
That's a really well-known show.
So so yeah.
Speaking of shows like that, did you know that Mark Zicree wrote for the Smurfs?
No, wait,
Yeah.
when?
Oh, back in the
When?
day, and I think he also wrote for He-Man.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
he's written for all kinds of shows. Yeah,
Oh my God, that's so cool.
yeah, yeah. He wrote for Sliders
Oh, I
too. I
didn't
don't know
know.
if you remember that show. That was a sci-fi
I've
show.
heard, I've heard it. That's
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah.
Wow.
He's done a
So he's
lot.
like true veteran,
Yeah,
TV veteran.
definitely.
Wow. Did he ever
Yeah.
write for Buffy?
Ah, that's a good question. He might have.
That would
I'll have
have
to
been
ask him
cool.
that. Yeah,
That's my
he
favorite.
just emailed me today because he just bought. Okay, so one of the things that Marcus likes to do, folks, is he loves to buy sci-fi props and set pieces and stuff on auctions. And he just recently
Mm-hmm.
bought a spacesuit from 2001 Space Odyssey.
Oh,
But
wow.
all he got was the spacesuit and the helmet. It doesn't have like all the accessories on it and stuff that it like a pack and all that.
Mm.
So he goes, Matt, can you 3D print this for me? And he's like, I just bought the digital files for it. And I'm like, okay, I can try and see what
Oh,
happens. So
wow.
he just gave me that
That's
project
cool.
today.
Wow.
So we'll see what
And
happens.
you're back at home,
Yeah,
right?
I'm up in the Seattle area. So
Yeah.
I could just
So you just like ship it to him?
ship it, or maybe I just
Or
keep it and just bring it the next time I go down to LA. You know,
mm-hmm.
depending on because we got to do some more shoots at some point. And
Yeah.
I always have to have some excuse to come back to LA because I got several friends that I like to hang out with. Yeah.
And now
Next time
you
I
have
come
a new
down, I'll have to let
landlord.
you know that I'm around too. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah. Uh, so that's going on. I'm trying to think out what else is in the works. Um,
For you? For Mark?
yeah, or
For me?
for Mark, or for well, also for you. Like, so besides this big, I mean, I'm assuming your main focus is this movie right now, and then you had some other projects too, right?
Um, well, I've been acting a lot.
Okay. Doing a jillion
Um,
auditions like everybody does.
doing like yeah, a billion additions.
Yeah.
One of the films that I was a part of in July, it is finished and it's submitting to festivals right now, and it's a sci-fi
Oh.
film, and it's called Lend a Friend, like
Oh.
Lend, FRND, friend, it's like a company, and I play an android
Oh.
that is mistakenly ordered by this guy who wanted a companion, but
An
I'm like an escort android that comes.
escort android.
Yeah, and so
What
awkward
rating is
situation.
this? Is it rated PG-13?
Um, I mean, it doesn't get that far. So I'll
Okay.
say, I mean, maybe some adults, some parents might rate it PG-13, but
Okay. So it's not too
it
racy.
doesn't get that far. No, it's not too racy, but it's like it's awkward, as you
Okay.
think, this
And this is a
guy.
short film, right?
Yeah, it's a short. I think it's 15 minutes, but we're looking
Oh.
forward to its premiere. It's
Okay.
been to different festivals. We submitted to Sundance as well. So
Are there clips
yeah.
from that we can show?
Have you ever been to Mars?
No, I've never even been to Mexico.
You enjoy the science fiction books?
Yes. How did you know that? Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, I don't read much now, though. Do they, I don't know, do they let you read?
How do you feel about romance? I don't know if you've seen my latest post. It has just like this picture of me and I have like bangs and like purple contacts. It's super cool. And some of the effects they did, like I'm actually like the purple contacts I have, like, and depending on like what I'm doing with my eyes, it'll like the special effects is doing something like as if like I'm registering
Interesting.
with
Oh,
my
that's fun.
robotic. Yeah, it's
Oh, that's
really
cool.
cool.
That's
Yeah.
fun. And then when you talk, do you use your normal voice or do you have like a computerized voice?
It's a little, it's it's kind of like Siri-ish,
Okay.
it's more like a person, but and she I think is understanding more than like a robot would. Like she's connecting, two and twos and pieces together and like emotions.
Okay.
But she's still more like, not such a mature vibe like a human. So there's some things where she's like, what is that? But
So
it
she's
is a
still
little
learning.
more, yeah,
Okay.
definitely. But it feels like she's learning on the go, especially since like she's thrown into this, situation where this is what she does every day, basically.
Okay.
Like she goes to, somebody orders her, like she goes to this thing and this person did not order her. Like they don't want her there. They don't want to do whatever like she's used to doing. So she's like, what
What
do I do
I
now?
need a purpose.
So they kind of become friends.
Oh. Okay, so it's a
Yeah.
bit like Pretty Woman. I don't know if you remember that movie.
Actually, the funny thing is I just rewatched it and that is exactly what I said. I was like, I feel like this is me in
Oh,
this movie. It's similar, yeah, except, she was a real person. But
yeah. Funny. Oh, that's really
yeah.
cool. Wow.
Yeah, it's heartwarming. Mhm.
Very good. And then, so that you got that going, and then do you have any other scripts that you're working on or things like that after this movie?
Oh man. I mean, I have so many ideas.
Wow.
I have features laying around. I have like TV series pilots lying around, but it's so much. It's interesting because last year I was all like making this film,
hmm
editing stuff. And then this year acting like really took off
hmm
in a way that I didn't expect.
Oh, good.
And because it took off, it took it takes up so much time and so much energy and so much like real estate in your brain
hmm
because the roles that I've been taking this year, they're all like because I'm thinking about like, eventually I would love to win an Oscar. I think we were talking
Sure,
about
that'd
it,
be
right?
nice.
Yeah. But like you have to start taking roles,
Kind of like,
oh,
it's not really an Oscar, but it's C-3PO.
thank you.
Oh, R2D2, where are you?
But you have
He
to
looks
start
kind of like
taking
an Oscar.
roles that are,
Yeah.
that are in that vein. So I've been like really picky with the roles I've been taking. Uh, and there've been a lot like of dialogue that I had to learn or
That's
just like
great.
monologues and stuff. So it takes up a lot of real estate in your brain and a lot of time,
And
rehearsing,
these are in
learning
feature films or like on TV shows or what?
a lot of features this year.
Oh, that's
I've
great.
done some verticals, which are like, did you talk about what the verticals are? The vertical series?
No, I don't
It's
know
in the
what that
vertical
is.
format for different apps, but they're basically like little TV series. They're little soap operas, but they're
Oh,
like a minute and a half episodes.
interesting.
So it's kind of like TV. So it's been like really good training for that too, because they
Wow,
shoot them fast and yeah, but a lot of features this year.
that's
So
great. So,
yeah.
what would you attribute to that? You just landed a couple roles, and then your agent was able to pitch you based on those, or what do you
I
think caused it to
wish.
happen?
I think maybe intention,
Okay.
setting intention, really following through. I'm all about like follow through and mindset. And
Okay, so
I
intention.
also,
You mean like you just kind of like do a meditation and you say, "Here's my future. This is what I want for my future to be," type of a thing?
I mean, that's a part of it. That's
Okay.
a part of it, like visualizations,
Okay.
but more like setting intention, like this is where I'm going
Okay.
and this is how I want my life to be.
Okay.
And it kind of like starts going in that direction little by little in
So
surprising
just by
ways.
willpower or by like making plans and doing stuff that
I mean,
helps set that up?
it's all of it, It kind of like when they say you have to throw everything at it,
Mm-hmm.
it's not just one thing, it's all the things you do that
Okay.
contribute
Right.
to the goal. It's like when you're trying to get fit, it's not just the workout, it's not just the diet, it's also like the sleep. It's like, it's a bunch of different things. So
Okay.
it's like that, where it's not just meditating, it's not just visualizing, but it is a big part of it. And
So
then of
you do
course,
meditation
the
though.
intention. I do. Yeah, I started
Okay.
meditating last August. I've never done it before. Like I
Do you
just couldn't
mean,
say
are you talking
no.
a month ago or a year and a month ago?
Like, oh, a little bit over a year. Oh
Okay.
yeah, last August, I guess. Yeah.
2023. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I started doing these like guided meditations and like really got into like quantum leaping and
Now,
just
wait a
like
sec. What's that? Quantum leaping? What's that? I don't know what that is. I mean, I remember there was a show called
like
Quantum
different
Leap.
I
Yeah.
love that show.
Okay.
Well, there's different like quantum physics about how you can like quantum leap from like where you are now to where you want to be in the future. And there's also like timeline therapy, and it's like very similar. I don't know if it's the same though, where you take like the timeline where you want to be and you take how you want to feel and to the present.
Okay, so
So,
I think what you're saying is in quantum theory, there's an interpretation of quantum mechanics out there called the many worlds theory, where the idea is that there's all these different types of timelines and universes that are all happening at once, and then when two particles or two people intersect or whatever, when something happens, that causes you to select a certain timeline, and that's the one you're on. And then I think what you're saying is quantum leaping is be able to jump from one timeline to another. Is that what you're saying?
not exactly, but you're very correct.
Okay.
It's just like different like coaches and like different people kind of explain it differently, and whatever works for you
Hmm.
to understand it. And I don't
Okay.
remember exactly who said it the way that I understood, but I know that I've been like trying to learn about it more often, or like
Okay.
just more general. But basically, like, say the Valerian now and the Valeria winning an Oscar where you want to be, like,
Mm-hmm.
they're not that far
Mm-hmm.
from each other if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, like other stars, there have been people who like they didn't have a manager and all of a sudden they got to be a series regular on a show, or like, and it's it's a lot of like mindset work where
Right.
you are,
Okay, so this is kind of what I was
where you
saying. You're
kind of
kind of
like connect those two together,
so
those
it
two
is kind
timelines.
of sort of visualizing the future that you want, but it sounds like it gets a little bit more into the details of it and talks about these different possible futures, and then you're trying to figure out which one you want to hook up with, sort of. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you see Dark Matter?
Yeah, I watched a couple of episodes.
Oh, you
Um,
should watch like the
yeah,
full
everybody
thing.
says there's
Um,
so many shows that I need to watch. I'm just so
I
busy.
know there's so many.
Yeah.
There's a couple episodes you can definitely skip in the middle,
Okay.
but the one thing that I really liked about that show and what's similar about what I do
Uh-huh.
is the setting intention that I was talking about.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. I don't want to like spoiler alert. Is it okay if I talk about what happens in the show?
Spoiler alert. This might
Spoiler
spoiler a certain dark matter episode.
alert. So basically, they have the hallway, right, with the doors. And before they enter the door,
Wait a
like
minute. Is Dark Matter the show? Okay, now I'm trying to remember what show we're talking about. Is this the one where they wake up in the spaceship and they don't even
with
know their
Joe
past?
Edgerton, Joe Edgerton, and Jennifer Connelly. It's new. It's on Apple TV Plus right now. I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't seen
Okay, maybe
it,
that's not the same show I'm thinking of.
but you should
Okay.
watch it.
Okay.
Okay, I
Okay,
don't
I
want to
should.
spoil it for you. One thing I will say though, they do talk about meditation
Mm-hmm.
because they talk about basically how to meditate and how
Mm-hmm.
to approach everything in your life
Mm-hmm.
by setting a good intention before you do it. Because
Okay.
if you're coming into a situation, whether you're writing an email or like going to a meeting or having like a conversation with your partner or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, um, if you're coming into it like anxious and like thinking of the worst outcomes, what do you think is going to happen?
Sort of cause that
Right?
to manifest.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're coming into like, maybe you meditate a little bit and you get, grounded and you really think about like, this is how I wish it would go. Like, and then you kind of imagine like, these are the positive ways it could go. Why not? You're
Okay.
already going into it preemptively, like deciding the outcome to be in a little bit better way. And even if
Right.
it doesn't go exactly the way you imagined it, it's still going to be a little bit better than you
Mm-hmm.
thought it was going, because you are going to be able to um like receive the information and the situation in a different way than if you went into like, oh my God, it's going to be the
Mm-hmm.
worst thing I ever do.
It's so funny
So
because I just started doing this Zoom class of this thing
mhm.
called Ticket to Ride to the Fourth Level Consciousness. And they're talking about this
Mm.
kind of stuff in there.
Oh
So,
wow.
and plus a long time ago I did a lot of sort of group sort of self-help therapy sort of type of stuff called Landmark. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of
The
it, but I
Landmark
don't
Forum.
actually know what it is. Uh-huh.
It's but one of the things they talk about in there is that which is similar to what you're saying is that I mean people we're typically ruled by our past, and most of the time our past actions is what basically creates our future. But what you're
Mhm.
saying is what you can do is be really in the present and intentional in the present and create a better future than otherwise would have happened just based on what happened with you in the past. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying. And
right.
actually, with timeline therapy, you can actually go back and heal like your past.
I've done that too. Of course, we call
Huh?
it
Say it
past
again.
life healings,
Oh, I
but
oh I mean like doesn't even have to be like past life. I mean like something that happened to you, when you were 7 years old, or
oh,
like yeah, it's it's really fascinating. Like you
yeah, there's
can
so many
really
things.
like your relationship with people who have already maybe died and you didn't get a chance to,
Okay.
but you can like go back to when you had a good relationship with them. You can
Hmm.
take it into the present
Okay.
and start operating from that you've had a good relationship with them and not that you're down on yourself or like all
Okay.
the
Do
things
they,
you
and
did.
that includes like inner child type of therapy and stuff like that too? Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of inner child. I mean, it's a little bit different, but I
Okay.
love inner child work too. I
Okay.
think it's very powerful.
Hmm.
Wow, look
Yeah,
at
I know
look
all
at
this
us. Look
stuff.
at this
Yeah.
conversation. How did it go? Hey,
That's what happens on
sci-fi.
my show. We just kind of poke around for a while, then we finally find a subject that we weren't really expecting, and it turns out to be really interesting. So, That's really interesting. Um, and were you into this kind of stuff back like in Russia? Are people into this kind of stuff too? Or is this something you just learned when you were in LA in
Um,
America?
well, when I was little, I remember like reading in newspapers and stuff and just like books that were not for children, of course, but I
Mm,
remember reading stuff and I was like, this is, this sounds interesting. I want to read more about it, like I want to know more about it. And as I was growing up, I discovered more the more like people I talked to. And then when I moved to LA, that's when I kind of like found a community of people who were also into like woo woo, as they say, like
mm-hmm.
maybe. And it's so fascinating, right? When you find a community
Right,
of like people, like you feel validated, like, okay, you're not crazy. Like, other people think of this too, and it does happen. And
right.
I've had so many things that like I've manifested and not even like known necessarily. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I mean, like you have a subconscious want or something and it happens. And then somebody will be like, "Oh yeah, you've said that you've said that you would do this in passing," And I was like, "Really?" So it's just fascinating how when you're little, like you have all these things that like innately, and if you
Okay.
keep developing it, like you're basically following your path,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I like truly believe that everybody has some like something, talent or like something exciting about them, like the passion, definitely like, a childhood dream that's been like put in us
Mm-hmm.
and we have this fire inside. And some people just like forget what that was,
Mm-hmm.
or like they're looking maybe, in the wrong place because maybe it's something material, but maybe it's a talent that like you're really good at communication. You're really good at like helping others understand a problem, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's something like you're good at, doing things with your hands, like you're an engineer, and people like
Mm-hmm.
don't think about that, like the skill set necessarily. So it's interesting because I find more and more people teaching their children now in this different way where they're seeing what the child uh, like tends to be drawn to the most.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh, okay, you like to build things or you like to take out, I don't know, the plants out of the ground and put them somewhere else. Like,
Yeah,
maybe you're a
farmer.
landscaper,
Yeah.
yeah. Like they like
Interesting.
really see what they're good at instead of, when we were little, people were like, no, you have to learn this language, you have to go into math, you have to do all these things. But that's not necessarily what we're like born to do and are naturally good at. And that's why we have so many people who end up going to college and not,
Right.
doing what they went to school for.
That's
So,
really interesting.
I mean, that's just one opinion, but yeah.
Well, it's really interesting because I'm into all this stuff. And but I've been taking voice lessons for a couple of years, and I've known my voice teacher for at least 10 years because I used to take lessons from him a long time ago, and I stopped for a long time. And then just this year, he told me that he's actually a healer, and that he used to be part of. You ever heard of Ramtha?
What is it again?
Ramtha. It was like a channeled spirit that was really popular, like in the 70s.
No, I
Well,
haven't heard of
anyways,
that.
he was hooked up with them. He like knew the person. He was
Oh,
like in their
wow.
inner circle. And I was like, Jeff, you never told me any of this stuff. We'd known each other for 10 years. You never even told me. He's like, well, just didn't
Wow.
think of it. So he, and I happen to, I know, I have several friends that are, to do healing. And they all
Mm-hmm.
say that you never can say, oh, I'm going to heal this person. It's always like they have to sort of be drawn to the person. And there
Mm-hmm.
has to be something, there has to be some kind of connection. Because what you really do, the way that's been explained to me, is you're mostly inspiring their own healing energy, to heal them. Even if it's like
Mm-hmm.
Reiki or something like that, or if it's more like an actual sort of traditional healing where you just sort of get them help them remove a certain blockage in them, and then their own healing energy can arise, and then basically they heal themselves. Is how it usually works. It's funny because even in the Bible, Jesus says stuff like that. He says, "By your faith are you healed." There's passages in the
Mm-hmm.
Gospels like that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyhow, and then I had one of my friends is really into past life healing, so like I did a bunch of past life healings with her,
Oh wow.
where she would like go to the Akashic records, and open up the book and
Oh
look,
wow.
find like one of these past lives where some really traumatic thing happened to me, and then we'd go back and we'd do kind of an inner child sort of type of thing with who I was back
Hmm.
then, and like
Interesting.
heal the emotional trauma of it. It was
Mm-hmm.
wild, and it works.
Wow.
This works for me.
Wow. That's
So
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah, you gotta find stuff that works for you. I mean, because
yeah,
different things work for different people,
yeah,
and also like the understanding of it. Yeah,
yeah.
that's so
It's all
cool.
fascinating. It's so much kind of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's really something. And so, what would you say your talent is? Your special calling?
Um, it's interesting because sometimes what you think your talent is, other people think it's something else.
Okay.
So lately, I've been really not even asking, and people will be like, I think your superpower is making people smile or
Mm.
laugh or, just like very heartwarming things.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about that and I was like, yeah, I really love people. Like,
Okay.
that's the one constant that I've always had. Like,
Okay.
I always wanted to be around people, no
Mm.
matter like family, gatherings, like, even when I went through like a shy period when I was like, like going to be a teenager, I still wanted to be around people, even if I didn't want to talk to them. Or
Mm-hmm.
like, I felt like I couldn't talk to them. And so I think it's like being around people and just like making them comfortable to be themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that's one of the things that is so wonderful about just like human to human interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can do that online too. You can make people
Mm-hmm.
comfortable online.
Right.
And I've had lots of like online friends.
Okay.
But I think there is something about like this personal connection, like
Right.
being with each other and like realizing that like we're all very similar. I love finding similarities,
Mm.
with each individual and just like, yeah, making their life just a little bit happier. Like,
Wow.
yeah.
Did you happen to talk to Brian McClure? Remember him? It's
Yeah, he's
basically.
one of my friends.
Do you remember that girl that he was hanging out with, Andra?
She was also at the Applebee's, right?
Andra wasn't. Brian was at Applebee's, yeah. But on the
Oh, it
Space
wasn't.
Command set, there was the girl. I always call her Andy, but I'm like the only one who calls her Andy. I call her that because my first wife was named Andrea, and so
Uh-huh.
I didn't want to call her Andra or call her Andrea by accident. So I said, "Can I call you Andy?" And so she always lets me call her that. But
Oh,
anyways, she was that girl. She ended up sitting next to Brian in that little sort of room right by all the costumes, by the table. And she was talking to
yeah.
him
I
for a
thought
long
I
time.
thought she went to the Applebee's. No, I thought she sat across. Didn't she sit
Oh,
with
wait,
them?
you're right. She was there. Yeah,
Right?
she was there. You're
It
right.
was so nice. Yeah.
Thin.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of thin, really pretty. She's a model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very
Anyhow,
pretty.
then the next day, or maybe the day after, me and her went out to lunch and hung out for pretty much the whole day. And she
Mm-hmm.
was telling me how, like you, she's looking for a spiritual community. Like she's into all this stuff too. She's like, I
Aw.
gotta find some people that can be like my community. So you should tell Brian
Aw.
that you're into that, and maybe Brian can connect you to her because she lives in the valley.
I think I'm friends with her on Instagram, so I
Oh,
can
you should
message
tell
her.
her. And then just let her
Yeah.
know somehow. Try to connect with
Oh,
her.
she's great.
Yeah, she'd really dig that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to her.
yeah,
Oh, thank you. See? Connecting people.
yep. That's cool.
Maybe that's one of your talents, one of your many talents, connecting people.
It kind of is. And well, okay, I'll tell you one more story. This one was really obvious too. So remember I was telling you how I stayed at that Airbnb for $50 a night, and I totally hit it off with the landlord, Donna. And that night, I think it was that night or the next night, I texted my friend Nate. Now you remember Nate? He was also on the set. Nathaniel Freeman. He was one of the He was actually one of the stars of the show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me and him are buddies. Like I stay over at his place a lot when I go to LA.
Uh-huh.
So I texted Nate, and I go, Nate, I've just met your future wife. If you don't marry her, I'm gonna. You have to meet Donna.
Oh wow.
And I told Donna, you got to meet my friend Nate. And I would not let go. I was pressuring them both. I'm like, you guys have to go on at least one date.
Wow.
So they finally
like
agreed to do it, and they did go out, and they both said they had a good time. They had a nice time. So that was a more obvious version of me connecting people.
Oh. So are they gonna get married?
Well, now I'm backing off. I guess now I'm like, gotta sort of let it happen. So I can't be. I've already put way too much effort into it already. So,
they're like, what's in it for you?
I still text them both. They're both friends of mine. So,
but
I'm trying to be a little bit more subtle now.
I'm waiting for a wedding invitation.
Yeah. If you guys are watching this, I'll play the cello or the violin at your wedding for free.
For free?
Well,
I have to pay at least $1. Fly him out.
I'm their friends. I'm not going to charge him.
At least fly him out.
Yeah. And Valeria wants to come too.
Yes.
She'll be one of the bridesmaids.
I will play the bride.
Okay, that's so funny. All right. Well, we probably should wrap it up unless there's anything more that we want to interject or promote in your show.
Let's see. Well, I talked a little bit about that I have a series that I made into a book, Contenders of the Last Will. So that's like a teen mystery drama.
Teen mystery? A teen as in teenager?
Teen,
okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Like YA, young adult.
Judy Blume type of thing.
Everything should go to the contender who collects all of my most important personal possessions.
So you want to contend? What if there's an heir already?
That Ethan McDowell from Space Command, right here.
I want an action figure of me.
Awesome. Of you? That'd be if you can get me the 3D files of it, I can print it for you.
That would be weird if I wanted an action figure.
You know, there's probably some website somewhere where you can give them a picture of you and they'll send you a 3D printable file. If you can send me the file, I'll print it for you.
Because I took some photos, took some full length photos in that outfit.
Okay, well, let's just put that out in the universe. 3D printer file for Valeria.
Okay. Now I don't know what I was talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Contenders of the Last Will.
Oh yeah.
So originally, because I wrote it as a series, so I'm gonna put out several books. But I wrote it as a 10 episode series, and it was in the vein of like Buffy, Vampire Diaries, Riverdale, Pretty Little Liars. So yeah, so there's like a group of friends in, a sleepy town that's mysterious, and they have to go basically on a treasure hunt of an old estate. And they can become a contender of the last will. And they have to contend for it against the trustees and possibly heirs. So
fun.
Yeah. So
this is very interesting.
Yeah. Which part?
Okay. So The other thing that you probably know this is that Mark Zickery is really into the Twilight Zone. You know that, right?
Hmm.
So, of course, Twilight Zone has all kinds of mystical types of things going on in it,
Yeah.
psychological stuff, and so that stuff like that. So we have that sort of connection happening. Does any of your projects get into that type of stuff as part of the themes, or even more? Uh, what am I trying to say? More obviously into that type of realm.
Um, Not so obvious. Like with this one, the main character, she's very intuitive.
Okay.
So she has like dreams where she sees things, she sees clues.
Oh, cool.
But it's not so like outwardly supernatural where you would like label it that necessarily. Maybe it will get there at one point. But it's more about, well, okay, you've seen Buffy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you know how in Buffy there are like metaphors.
Mm-hmm.
So like, monsters and vampires and stuff like that. It was a high school show, and they were kind of like metaphors for like all the bad stuff that happens to you in teen years and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's similar in this where it's like it's very character driven. So it's
Okay.
about these friendships and these people who might, one might want to contend for this inheritance and break up these friendships. And it's sort of about like also metaphorically speaking, like all these things that are going to be happening in this mystical town are like what is happening in the character's like actual like personal life. Because in like when you're in high school, everything's like such a big thing, right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
somebody told you, something mean, or somebody like wanted to date you or wanted to break up with you, like everything's the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I
I
think
remember
it's
that
like,
well.
yeah, me too.
I'm still, I
So
have all
I
kinds of emotional scars as a result of it.
I think all of us. But yeah, so I kind of based it on my high school experience and
Okay.
my friends, and of course, not exactly everything happened. I
Mm.
wish I could have, contended for an old inheritance. That would have been fun.
Mm.
But yeah, somehow that came together to me also, like very intuitively. I was looking for a show to write, and I believe in God, and I was kind of like talking to him, and I was like, you know, give me like that idea that is gonna be like I'll be really passionate about, but like other people will really be into it, and
Okay.
we can connect that stuff. And so I started writing one thing, and then like other storylines came in
Okay.
that just like tied in, and yeah, yeah.
Okay, I can't let you go yet. So
Okay.
you believe in God. So for you, what's your definition of God? Who's God? Who or what is God?
Um, I think it's changed as I've like grown up, but he's definitely just always felt like a friend to me.
She.
Well, to me it's a he.
He or he. Okay.
To me it's a he.
Wait,
And
a
like
she. Are you saying she or he?
yeah, I mean it's like different people think different things, right? Like
Okay.
it's whatever is close to your
So
heart.
for you, God is is a female.
No, 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 it's a he.
She.
Male.
Oh, male. Somehow I keep hearing she, but you're saying he.
He.
Sorry. My ears aren't that good.
You're good.
No, my ears aren't
Maybe
good.
my speakers are not that good.
Uh, okay, he. Okay, so
Yeah.
God is a he.
Yeah, and he feels like I don't know, like a very kind grandpa.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
And
funny because that's exactly how I thought of God when I was a kid. Like, I don't
Santa.
even know. Nobody ever really told me who God was supposed to be. I just always felt like I remember being 5 years old and going to bed at night and just saying a little prayer and asking God. Basically, my main thing I would ask is to help me not have bad dreams.
Aww.
But the same thing, I always felt that God was just a friend, somebody near me, a friend that was close by me.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think that way, like, you can always, well, you should always be able to talk to him, but
Right.
you know, some religions say like, no, you have to go to, you know, through somebody,
Right.
talk to God, and I don't really believe that for me. That's not how I grew up knowing him, and I feel like you can always pray, you can
Right.
always talk
Did you
to
grow up Catholic, or what was your religion when you were a kid?
Russian Orthodox.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not like super religious necessarily. Like,
Okay.
like I go to the Russian Orthodox Church, but when I do go to the churches, especially in Russia, I do feel his presence. Like, it's
Right.
weird. Like, I really do feel.
Okay, so you feel more of a connection just to God directly. Like, you don't feel so much of a connection to Jesus, for example?
I mean, I know his son, you know.
But you don't really need to have Jesus sort of be the intercession, the intermediary.
I don't think so.
Okay.
At least not for me.
How about like the Holy Spirit? Like, what's your take on that?
I mean, it's just, I guess it's one part of it. I mean, a lot of, you know, some religions think like it's the Holy Spirit, some people think it's Mary.
Mary?
To me, yeah, Mary, you know, like
Mary, Mother,
yeah.
Mary, Mother of Jesus. Okay.
To me, it's just God, you know, like
Okay.
I don't know, like
So
I mean,
so you just have a connection. So it seems to me like at first for you, God is kind of a friendly, sort of benevolent spirit, or almost kind of an energy of the universe. Is that accurate?
I mean, I guess you could say that, but like I also stated, it kind of feels like somebody, you know, like it feels like a kind grandpa, like feels like my grandpa.
So there's a personal aspect.
Yeah, and like I don't know what he looks like, but it feels like a person, you know? And if we're made in his likeness, then
Okay.
it would make sense of how you know, how I'd imagine him. But that's just, yeah, that's kind of how I always thought of that.
And you can just basically just think about God or whatever, and then you feel the presence immediately.
Not that sometimes not immediately. If I've been a naughty girl, not immediately.
Well, okay, all you have to do is say, well, when you are naughty, you can just say, well, God, you made me this way, so it's your own fault.
No. But there have definitely been things where like I've asked like what should I do, and he like tells me like do this. For example, I remember when I was telling you that before pandemic I went to Russia like five years in a row. I went every year.
Okay.
And I filmed this Russian trilogy basically. And the last one we filmed in November of 2019. Like I was there at the end of November, beginning of December. So right before 2020. And so I filmed year prior. I had my second part and I was like really lagging, you know, dragging my feet about, filming the next one, you know, I was busy and stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I need to film the third one. You know, when should I film it? How should I do it? And so like I kind of prayed and I was like asking for guidance. And I was, you know,
asking God for guidance.
Okay. Yeah, and I was asking, you know, what should I do? And he was like, you need to go and make it.
Вы знакомы? Мы...
Учились вместе в школе.
Надо же, какая талантливая школа. Выпускает хит за хитом. Наверное, после этой передачи у них будет больше учеников. Ну что ж, Стелла, расскажи нам о своем фильме.
Это история о родственных душах?
о двух людях, которые не перестают любить друг друга на протяжении долгих лет. Время расстояния преграждает им путь, но они продолжают притягиваться друг к другу.
Это событие основано на реальной жизни или опыте?
Некоторые вещи, конечно. Не все. Но чувства были настоящими.
Отличная история. Замечательный фильм. Давайте посмотрим трейлер.
This old motel, I'm staring at the ceiling. I think I'm coming down. Now that you believe it, you put that spark in my bones.
Стелла? Потом это отредактируем.
Почему ты не рассказала о фильме?
Не сказала о книге.
И как? Конец счастливый?
Параллельный мир.
Okay, so this makes me think of like when Moses meets
Well, I don't
God in the
know.
cave with the burning bush, and then later there's a tent where he hangs out with God and talks to him. So, like for you, do you actually hear a voice, or is it more like you just like feel a very strong feeling or a strong message in the silence, or how would you describe the experience?
It's like he's like I can hear him say something to
So you
me.
actually hear it in your
It,
mind.
it like yeah, like inside of me I know. Like as if like if you were doing like a meditation and you were like to ask a question and then the question like the answer kind of appears to you what you should do.
Mhm.
Have
That's
you
what
done
it's
that?
like.
So that's kind of how it feels, except like I know because I asked him that's him.
Do you always
But
have to ask, or do you sometimes just get messages spontaneously?
have I mean, sometimes, but they're not like spontaneously where like you have to do this. It's more like you should probably do this, like
Yeah.
maybe if I mean, I always think it's just like maybe intuition more so,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
of course, like where does it come from, right?
Right.
Um,
So some
but
people
yeah,
might say, well, it's just coming up from your subconscious. If they're not particularly religious or spiritual, they could explain it through just your subconscious mind sending stuff up from the depths of the neurons or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So have you ever had times where you're given a message and then for whatever reason you decide not to follow it and then everything goes to hell? And you're like, man, I should have listened to that message. It would have been so much better if I'd done what it said.
No, but I've had this thing happen where I followed the message,
Okay.
but then I was told it was a test.
Ah.
But it was like more of a test for the person that I told it to than
Okay.
me. So that was interesting. So I'm like, oh dang, I didn't want to do that, but
Okay.
but I mean, it's not like it comes to me that often,
Okay.
That's why I was like talking specifically about this time when it happened in 2019, because he told me to do all these things and I was like, okay, I trust you, but like please, help me. And if he didn't tell me this, I wouldn't have made it because
Right.
then the pandemic hit and then like the war. So like I
You're talking about the
literally,
war in Ukraine?
yeah,
Right.
I like I don't know, the next time I'll be there because it's
Right.
so, it's scary right now and
Yeah, it's totally destructive and pointless
so,
in my opinion.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just it is fascinating, you know. Like I know not everybody believes in this stuff, and not everybody, you know, kind of like spends a
Yeah, but
lot of
see, for like
time with
people like you
stuff.
and me,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like we believe it. It's more like it's just the way it is. Like we've always had it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's we just like, well, that's just kind of how things work.
That's
You
how
know,
it
like, do you
works.
believe in gravity? You don't really have to believe in gravity for gravity to exist. Well, same thing. We just believe in what is, and we try to do our best to follow it and become aligned with it. Because when we do, life is a whole lot more fun.
Yeah, and better, you
Yeah.
know. Like and one of the things that I always like appreciate like knowing God for is that he he always protects, right? He
Hmm.
protects from like really bad situations.
Hmm.
He sends you good people, you know. Yeah,
Hmm.
sometimes there's a bad apple in them, but that's okay, you know, like
Right.
it's you know, it's still a lesson and you have to learn to live with everybody, you
Right.
know, and communicate.
Right. And then you know this too, like the more you can say yes and the more you can follow your instincts and these messages that you get, all these unlikely things can happen that, I mean, just after a while you sort of get used to it. Like, well, that's
Mm-hmm.
just the way my life works. I'll just meet some random person and then that'll open up like a whole new chapter in my life. You know, just because I happened to talk to them at a street corner or, you know, or like, or, you know, turned around and said hi to him and while I was standing in line at the grocery store, you know,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, you know. You know, I think you
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, it's
So,
fascinating. And
yeah,
just taking leaps of faith, you know,
right.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, just
That's
coming to this, you know, the Space Command thing, like
I had so much fun there.
it was so great.
I
And, you
know.
know, all I was like, I don't have anything to do that day. I would love to go help them and I would love to see the studios. And that was like
Oh,
my
so you weren't
all.
even expecting to be an extra?
No, that was like yeah, like I'll sit in, you know, like
Okay.
I'll sit in to do whatever you want me to do. Like I don't
Right.
have, you know, I just want to help out. And then Mark was like, okay, you're gonna say this,
Uh-huh.
you know, this is your name. uh, you know, and I was like, this is so interesting.
That's exactly what happened to me. I told him, you know what? I'm just going to hang out there. I don't need to be an extra, whatever. I'm just there. And then halfway through the day, it's like, Matt, you're going to be a captain on this ship. And so let's get you in a costume.
Ooh, this is called an upgrade.
Yeah.
Upgraded.
So, yeah. Oh, it's so
But yeah,
fun.
but I think that's the thing, like that some actors miss out on. You know, they say like, "Oh, I only do speaking parts or whatever."
Hmm.
But there've been two or three times when I was like, "Oh yeah, I know some people on the shoot. Yeah, I'll come do some background on it. Like, you know, I'll come hang out. Like, I'll come help you." Um, and then like amazing connections came through that. You know, I
Right.
found my producers, best friends, like
Hmm.
you know, like amazing people like you. Like you don't get these connections if you don't like, just like come in with just like open mind, open
Right. Open
heart, and
heart. Yeah.
just like not expecting anything,
Right.
you know? And there
Hmm.
are people, you know, on the Space Command set that were like expecting stuff,
Hmm.
or they were like, oh, you know, actually I have stuff to do rather than be an extra here, so I'm gonna
Right.
leave early, or like I already
Right.
paid for something, so I'm gonna go.
Right.
Um, and it's like you're already there that, you know, the whole day, like might as well stay for a couple hours. You never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I was like a kid in the candy store.
Oh
I was
yeah,
going around talking to everyone
it was great.
and then lining up interviews and all kinds of stuff. Oh, I
That's
mean,
awesome.
you're on my show because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's not exactly how it happened though. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know you had a podcast either.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, oh
We were
wait,
just hanging
how
out.
long coming? Let's keep talking.
Yeah. That's so cool. Okay. Well, let's wrap it up for now. We can always have you come back.
Yeah.
Anytime you have another project that you want to promote, or if you just want to talk about more spiritual stuff again and whatever,
Sounds good.
Oh, it's been so fun.
Yeah.
Do you ever watch Star Trek? You know what that is, Star Trek?
I've seen a couple of episodes, but I haven't seen it lately.
So I always do this. We do this Vulcan salute. Does this mean anything to you?
Yeah.
There you go. Live long and prosper. All right, Valeria.
Ooh.
Next time I'm in LA, I'll Facebook message you and let you know.
Sounds good.
Hopefully we can hang out again.
Cool. Yeah. And I'll connect.
This was so fun.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. That was cool.
Pranakasha Production.
Fantastic creations emerging spontaneously from the space of life.
For the benefit of all beings everywhere.
We gotta change.